Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be going over my personal best Anycubic Kobra X settings. Let's get into it. Okay, so we are in Anycubic Slicer next, and we're going to be going over the two different profiles that I have here. This is the custom one is for PLA, and then this one's for the TPU. So first let's go over the custom one that I have. And this will work on basically every type of PLA, whether it's just basic PLA, PLA Plus, PLA Pro, Silk PLA, Matte PLA, basically all the same chemical combinations. So this will work for all of those different types of PLAs. So first thing, quality. Let's go over that. The layer height, just like a standard that I always try to keep it at, is 0.16 because it is a 0.4 nozzle that comes on the printer. It wants to default to a 0.2 millimeter layer height, but to me, 0.16 just gives it a little bit more quality without taking too much time to print the objects themselves. So I just use this all the time for basically all of my prints if I want it to just look good and also be able to print off relatively fast. And I keep the first layer height at a 0.2 millimeter layer height. For the line width, I literally do not ever touch any of these settings. I've messed with these before, and for me, every time I've tried to change them, for some reason, it almost seems like the filament, especially with the silks, they just start to like come out really strange looking and lose their shine, or just the objects to start looking kind of funny. So I don't ever mess with this just because this is going to affect how slow and how fast the extruder is pushing out the filament. So I just leave it as a default. For the seam settings, I always put it to the back. This is more based off of which model you're using. So if you're using a model where aligned might be a little bit better, or even random depending on how you have it set for the model, you could definitely do that. I always keep it on back just for mine, and then I just orient it properly in the slicer. And then I don't really ever touch any of the other settings either. I've tried the scarf joint seam thing for the seam, but I don't really like it, so I don't ever use it. For the precision section, once again, I really don't ever touch any of the settings themselves. They have these profiles pretty well made nowadays, so I don't really mess with a ton compared to how I used to. But I do put precise wall on. Next up, we have ironing. I never use ironing. I hate ironing. I've used it. I remember I used it like way back when I first started getting into 3D printing, and it used to actually help with your prints. But nowadays, none of these really do anything. The printers themselves are very precise, and you don't ever need to use an ironing. And basically, what ironing does is it's just supposed to make like the top surface of your print smoother by not putting like an actual layer. Like say you're printing off a cube, it'll do an extra pass over the top of the cube, only pushing out very small amounts of filament to try to help make it completely smooth. But every time I've ever used it, and what a lot of other people have said whenever they use it, it just makes the top of the print look even more rough than when you leave it off. So to me, a staple is never use ironing. I do not like ironing, don't use it. Next up, we have wall generator, and I always put mine on the Arachne. And basically what this will do is help, it's almost like a variable wall layer height and width adjustment. And it basically just automatically does it for you. So just for example, I'm going to use this sphere. Say if you're printing off a sphere and you want this wall generator to kind of help with the variable layer heights, it will use thicker layer lines and widths on the center of it because there's not going to be as much visible layer lines whenever it's printing off near the middle. But as it works its way up to the top over here, it'll make them thinner and not as high, so that way it can produce more layers and eventually just make this part more smooth. And I'm sure a lot of you guys know, if you are printing off things that are rounded out like this, when it gets to about here, this is when you can start really noticing the layer lines. This setting will help prevent those layer lines up at the top. So now for wall and surfaces, inner, outer, inner always produces the best overall finish of the print. It will print the inner walls first and then the outer walls and then inner again. Basically doing a triple pass, and it does take a lot longer when you have this setting on, but it does produce a much better overall finish on the print. But if you are trying to print things off in a hurry, you can always switch it to outer, inner. Going on down to bridging, literally have not touched any of these settings. I don't ever mess with the bridging settings or the overhangs. Like I said, they have these profiles on these machine slicers so well made already and already pretty accustomed to the printer. And you know, a lot of these things that you used to have to really know and change in slicers, you don't even have to mess with anymore. So a lot of the things, if I don't have to mess with them, I never even try to test it to make it better because they're already good. Moving on to the strength tab, wall loops, I always have it at 3 just because I feel like 2, you can see the infill a lot, so I always try to put it on 3. And honestly, for a lot of my settings, you're gonna notice that a lot of the settings that I use kind of make my prints slower. I don't always aim to just get it done really fast. I'd rather have a really nice looking print than a super quick print time. And yeah, so a lot of my settings are more for print quality rather than print speed, obviously. And moving on to the next one, funny enough, top shell layers, I keep it at 5, as well as bottom shell layers, keep it at 5. I think they are both on 4 and 6 by default, but I like to keep these both at 5. Next up, moving on to the infill. My standard is always 8% infill just because I feel like that's like the perfect medium for me whenever I'm doing any prints. But if I ever do need something to be really strong, the highest infill that I will ever really use is 25%. Unless you need something that's literally like a solid piece of plastic, I don't really recommend going over 25% because you're going to be wasting a lot of time and a lot of filament for a print that may not need all that much filament. It's definitely better to kind of test it with smaller amounts of infill. 15% is a very good number for a strong print, and 5% if you're just trying to get something done pretty quick and you don't want to waste a lot of filament. And right now, my favorite infill pattern is this 3D honeycomb. This just seems to fill in the print where it needs the most amount of support on the inside, better than any of the other infill patterns that I used to use. Gyroid used to be my go-to. This is actually the one that I use in the TPU profile, but we're not going to get into that just yet. And for the advanced strength settings, once again, have not touched any of these. Moving on to the speed settings, first layer speed, never touch it. If the first layer is coming out good every single time, don't touch it. For people back in the day that used to have the Ender 3s and stuff like that, where you used to have to move the Z offset every single time you did a print or adjust the bed level manually, know that a first layer is literally the most important thing of a 3D print. So if it's coming out good, just leave it. If you need to adjust it, you can. This isn't really going to change much though. Now I honestly can't remember if I have or have not changed any of these settings. You can of course pause the video at any time and then check your slicer and see if my settings match up to yours or if you're just trying to match them up in general. But I don't think that I have changed too much here. I might have changed the outer wall. I think I made this one a little bit faster just because I feel like it could handle it a little bit better than some of the other printers. But I don't think that I changed any of these settings. Overhang settings, I know for a fact I haven't changed those. The travel speed, I might have bumped this up a little bit. I think this might have been at 300 and I moved it up to 400 just so that way I can get moving through prints a little bit quicker, and because the Anycubic Kobra X has very good handle over drooping and stringing, and I don't really have any issues with that. And for the acceleration, like I said, I can't remember if I've changed any of these settings. I might have changed a couple of them, so just go ahead and take a look. And I've never touched these settings before either. Moving on to support. If I ever need support, tree, always use tree. Sometimes, that's a lie. Sometimes I do use the normal supports, but they just use a lot of material. And as far as the style goes, I usually keep it on the default just because that will lead all the branches onto the print where they need to be. However, if you are doing a print with an extremely large rectangular or just some sort of overhang that's really far out that has a flat surface, try putting it on the tree hybrid, because what that's gonna do, instead of all the branches leading right underneath the print, it'll actually create a normal support with all of the branches combined to sort of get a better pattern and hold of the print underneath, if that makes sense. It'll sort of combine all the branches together to make a large, solid, normal support, and it'll just help give it a better surface finish and stuff like that. On build plate only, I always put it on build plate only because I never want a support to start on a print. Those never come out good, ever. And I remove small overhangs because they never really need it. Unless you're trying to make a really nice model that you're probably going to paint and it's a very small, you know, figurine or something like that, you can go ahead and take that off. But if not, leave that on. I raft, I never use a raft. And then for the advanced support settings, this is something that a lot of you guys might be looking to hear, because this is like one of the most important settings when it comes to 3D printing still. And basically what the top Z distance is, like it says right here, determines the Z gap between top support interfaces and the object. So basically, literally where the support touches the model, this is going to be how weak that connection is going to be. And that might sound counterproductive, I guess you would say. Why would you want the support that is supposed to be holding up the print to be like thinner or weaker? And just because that's going to make it easier to remove whenever you're trying to take it off of the model. If you had this setting at 0, that support is literally going to be welded onto the print, and you're never going to be able to tell the difference between the model and the support. And if you have this at the same layer height as the rest of your print, it will push the support to just touch the top, which can lead to some hard to remove supports. So if you put it at double, this will leave a larger gap between where you're trying to have the supports touch the model. So that way, literally, as you pull it off, it just pops right off perfectly. You're not even gonna need to sand it. It's gonna come off so good, I promise you guys. I do this with all my printers. First setting I always mess with is this one, just because I know that the supports can cause issues and make prints look super ugly. And other than that, I do not ever mess with any of the other support settings, really. So multi-material, this is obviously if you're going to be printing off multiple colors, which you probably are with the Kobra X because it does come with it. Prime tower, I enable it. It's cool looking. It doesn't waste all that much material at all, the way that they have this new sort of like X-shaped pattern for the prime tower. Doesn't waste a lot of material. I've left these settings alone. And I don't really ever use the flush the objects into the infill, just because if you ever do have like a bright print color, like a yellow, pink, or white, and you put this setting on and it flushes black or blue or brown filament inside of the print, you're gonna be able to see that from the outside of the model, especially if you don't have enough walls on the print itself. You're probably gonna end up seeing those colors bleed through. So I always just leave that off. I'd rather it flush it into the support or just make the prime tower a little bit wider before doing this setting. And for others, these are pretty much if you need them sort of settings anyways. If I ever do need to use something here, I usually use the brim type, and I just do outer brim only, so that way it only goes along the outside of the print. Because if you use inner and it goes on the inside, especially if you're trying to do like a flexi rexy or something like that, the flexi rexy will never even work. It's going to be a hard to move type of print. So only use outer brim if you do need it. And then the rest of these are sort of just things that you can change up every print that you do if you want a time lapse or fuzzy skin or whatever the case may be. And yeah, so that is the PLA settings that I have for the Kobra X. Now quickly, let's go over the TPU settings that I use for the Kobra X. And these are a lot more simple. I think I've only changed like a couple of things. I'm not gonna get too in depth on the TPU ones. I think most of these settings are basically left alone at default for the most part, but I will go ahead and just kind of scroll through all of them just so that you guys can see them. I do put gyroid on the TPU prints because I feel like these sort of infill patterns kind of help it squish a little bit better if you're trying to make a squishy print, I guess. And the only thing that I always do with my TPU prints, which you probably don't need to do this might be me being a little bit dramatic, but just to go over them, I basically leave the first layer height alone. And then after that, I like to reduce or at least cut in half the speed of a lot of these settings for the TPU. To me, it definitely helps give it a little bit of a better quality for those TPU prints, just because I feel like if it's slowed down enough, it can kind of help the TPU adhere. TPU is notorious for not being able to adhere to any other type of material or even itself sometimes. So slowing it down, letting it really weld into the other layers of the print just always helps with the structure of the model. And for supports, I do keep it on tree slim. This will just kind of help once again with removal of the supports. And most of these are left the same. I changed that Z distance again for the supports. Multi-material, I don't ever hardly print multi-material TPU, but if you do, you pretty much just enable the prime tower and you're good to go. And once again, you can kind of use these as you wish. And that is my Anycubic Kobra X settings. So if you guys found this video useful and you would like to see the other videos that I made on my other printer settings, go ahead and click on this playlist right here to see all those videos. And if you're not subscribed already, go ahead and click on this button right here to subscribe to the channel for more 3D printing content. A huge shout out to all of my channel members for your continued support of the channel. And if you would like, go ahead and click that join button down below. Once again, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video.